This episode is brought to you by Trump Mortgage.
Good day, I'm Abby Overton, and this is The Real Deal. At the top of the news, Manhattan office rents set new records, while the National Association of Realtors says existing home sales are now predicted to fall for the first time since the Great Depression. And the owner of the old New York Times building is putting the great edifice on the block. That and more on the Real Deal webcast. But first, our interview of the week. With the competition for condo sales at an all-time high in New York, a number of developers have hired star architects to construct their new buildings, delivering some of the finest examples of modern architecture by the likes of Annabelle Seldorf, Jean Nouvel, and Swiss architects Herzog and de Meuron. But does fine architecture help bring in higher prices? We spoke to Leonard Steinberg, Executive Vice President of Prudential Douglas Elliman, and the best-dressed man I've met in a while, to talk about the transformation of residential building. Here are some highlights from our conversation. Can you tell us a little bit about how this building is different architecturally, and what are the prices like?
The building reintroduces to architecture a dimension that I think has been lacking over the last few years.
Is design like this one of the only reasons the apartments are selling at such a premium?
No, these apartments are really extraordinary. They have a phenomenal checklist. And on top of all of that, this is the first building in the United States of America that has a car elevator.
What other new residential projects do you like besides this one that you're selling? And why do you like them?
I like few other projects besides my own.
For the full interview, click on the link below. And now for the news. Manhattan's commercial market is setting new records according to a new report. Cushman & Wakefield said that Manhattan's average commercial asking rent reached an all-time high during the first quarter of 2007. Rents climbed to a little over $53 per square foot, up from $50.5 in the fourth quarter of 2006. The overall vacancy rate also set a six-year low at 5.7%. While the New York market is hot, the national market is not. The nation's leading real estate group is projecting median prices for previously occupied homes will fall 0.7% this year from the previous year. The National Association of Realtors has frequently said that home prices have not fallen nationwide since the Great Depression. But the new forecast reverses their assessment issued in February that prices would have increased 1.9% in 2007. The group's chief economist said they believed prices would slip this year due to the collapse of the subprime lending industry, with lenders tightening standards and because mounting foreclosure rates are flooding many markets with inventory. The owners of the New York Times headquarters at 229 West 43rd Street are selling, and they hope to fetch about $500 million, or $666 a square foot for the property. The owner, Tishman Speyer, purchased the building 2.5 years ago for $175 million. Although demand for Manhattan office space appears to be unabated, whoever buys the 15-story building will likely have to invest a significant amount of capital renovating the 1913 vintage building. The Times Company will be moving its headquarters later this year to a new under-construction tower on 8th Avenue between 40th and 41st Streets. The entire meatpacking district, centered around Gansevoort Street, has been approved for listing on the State and National Register of Historic Places. The designation recognizes the area's importance as a commercial hub in the city. Property owners who preserve their historic buildings will be entitled to tax breaks and grants. This is a new and important tool in our ongoing fight to preserve the history and character of the meatpacking district, said Andrew Berman, Executive Director of the Greenwich Village Society for Historic Preservation. A bill introduced in the City Council last week would give the city the right to go into buildings with code violations, make repairs, and then charge landlords for the cost of the city-executed repairs. The law seeks to bring the city's stock of rundown housing up to code and to ensure more habitable apartments are available for low-income tenants. Queens experienced a 91% increase in first-time residential foreclosures in the first quarter of 2007, accounting for the majority of foreclosed properties citywide. The news is based on a new report from PropertyShark.com, who found that there were 319 new foreclosures in the first quarter over the previous quarter. The citywide foreclosure rate was up 57% over the end of last year, but it actually decreased 1% from this time a year ago. Meanwhile, Manhattan experienced the fewest foreclosures of all 5 boroughs. Ryan Slack, CEO of Property Shark, said the foreclosure levels in Queens are worrisome. The law firm Cleary, Gottlieb, Steen & Hamilton is pursuing a lease at 7 World Trade Center for roughly 450,000 square feet that would bring the tower to full occupancy. The law firm currently has a large lease at 1 Liberty Plaza that expires in 2010. Property values have skyrocketed, but the number of subprime loans issued to buyers has also increased greatly over the past few years in New York City, according to a new report. The report also found that homeownership became far less affordable to middle-income residents between 2000 and 2005, with fewer than 5% of home sales in 2005 affordable to residents earning the city's median income. That was a 100% drop from the houses affordable to such residents 5 years earlier, according to the annual State of New York City's Housing and Neighborhoods report. One of the reasons, median home sales prices in the city increased 68% during the same time period. Put together by NYU's Center for Real Estate and Urban Policy, the report also found that the percentage of subprime mortgage loans increased almost fourfold to 22.9% of all home loans issued in 2005 from just 3 years earlier. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Real Deals webcast. Please join us next week for the latest real estate news. I'm Abby Overton, and this is The Real Deal.